Hey folks, we're back at iamdeveloper.live. My name is Nick Taylor, your host, and today I'm hanging out with Brandon Roberts. I can't speak today. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm good, Nick. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's Friday, so end of week, but yeah, no. Aside from like I was telling you before the stream, I tweaked my back shoveling snow in a very Canadian way.
hmm
So yeah, I mentioned it to Brandon, but for folks that are catching the stream, if I look grumpy at some point, it's not that. It's I'm screaming on the inside because I'm in a lot of pain. So,
All right.
anyways,
I promise I wouldn't take it personal, and hopefully the people in the audience won't take it personal either. They're just like, man, he's just not there
yeah,
today. He's just
yeah. What's
making
up
these
with
funny
that guy?
faces.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, cool. So, you're a senior engineer at OpenSauce right now. Is that right?
hmm Yep, that's
Yeah.
true.
Cool, cool. So I guess for folks that might not know you, would you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Of course, I usually give the usual pitch. You can see my name in the handle there, Brandon T. Roberts on Twitter, and basically pretty much most places.
Okay.
I work as a senior software engineer at OpenSauce. And again, kind of get into that a little bit, but yeah, main thing is I manage some open source projects. One of them being NGRX, which is a set of libraries for the Angular ecosystem to help you build reactive applications in Angular.
Okay.
Um, I've also done some work, I'm a general web developer. I do open source, NGRX, and of course, a recent project I started is Analog, which of course we'll get into that also. So, been around the
Very
Angular
cool.
space for a while, been able to do
Nice.
some cool things there in the community. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to talk about this because I have used Angular in the past, and it's just basically been a minute. The last time
hmm
I used Angular, pretty sure it was 2016 or maybe even yeah, it was early 2016 was around the last time I used it.
hmm
And I know people like to dunk on Angular. I mean, people like to just complain about stuff in general, but
yeah.
uh, a lot has changed in Angular because like when the last version I used was Angular.js and it was version 1.4.6, I believe. So
Oh, yeah.
this is like pre TypeScript. This
hmm
is like
It's
you know
pre everything because that
yeah,
around
yeah,
about I think 2016 was. I don't think they had, well, Angular. It was called, of course, Angular 2 at the time before
yeah,
they tried to transition over to removing the version number. Well, semi removing the version numbers altogether. But
yeah.
yeah, Angular JS, and I think 1.4. That was even before they introduced like components in Angular JS, or the
Hmm.
notion of those components anyway. And then
Yeah.
Angular 2 was being kind of worked on and thought out at that time. So it was still definitely early in its development back then.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's the I did look at I think it was called Angular 2.0 at that time or maybe they called it
hmm
Angular JS 2.0, but it was basically the first TypeScript version and I didn't really do much with it aside from a hello world, but it I think it was pretty interesting that they went all in on TypeScript that early.
hmm
Um
Yeah,
cuz I
they
caused some friction for people, I think.
definitely so. I think Angular was actually one of the first, probably front end frameworks to like lean into TypeScript, and they kind of went through a few iterations on that because at one point they were trying to make basically an Angular version of TypeScript. It was called like
Okay.
AtScript or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's
But
right. That's right.
that ended up getting shelved for a good reason, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought at one point that the latest version of Angular was going to be like fully ES5, ES6 compliant and all that, but they kind of made a hard decision back then to lean into all the way into TypeScript, and as
Yeah.
opposed to having TypeScript as an option, it was like the only way you could build or only way you can
Hmm.
build apps with Angular. So
Yeah.
definitely made that decision back then.
Yeah. Like even I remember just a lot of people talking about it and like, oh man, gotta like it's kind of, well, not funny, but like I actually ended up using TypeScript really early on. So in 2015, I was working
Hmm.
in a Microsoft shop, and uh, back end was .NET, and we were working as an e-commerce company. And since it was a Microsoft shop, they said, hey, let's go with TypeScript. And TypeScript early days were pretty interesting because like we were using VS Code because at the time it was
Hmm.
the only editor that supported it. Like eventually there was a plugin for Visual Studio .NET for it, but the first
Oh yeah.
editor available was VS Code, and we're talking bare bones VS Code. Extensions didn't exist yet. It was literally like,
Oh
it's kind of
wow.
like Notepad with IntelliSense, pretty much. Um, but yeah, no, I think it was probably a good move that, even though it caused some friction initially, that they did go with Angular,
Hmm.
because, well, now obviously Angular is, somebody had the forethought to say, hey, TypeScript's probably going to catch on,
Hmm.
and so that's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, I think it's very interesting how like the usage of TypeScript has like definitely grown over that amount of time, and how the way that it was approached in Angular versus the way it was approached in other platforms and even other ecosystems. So
yeah,
yeah, definitely a different way that they've gone about it. Because I think that, like I said, Angular more or less kind of wraps TypeScript for its like compilation and everything,
yeah,
more so than others that kind of use just TypeScript as a tool that you can kind of pass through, and then they um, still have their own ways of doing the rest of the compilation, I guess. So
yeah.
it has its pluses and minuses, but I think it's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it was the right direction because, like, I mean, later on, like, obviously React works with TypeScript now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I would say probably every modern framework now has TypeScript support, I believe,
Yeah, it's like
so
if you're not shipping with TypeScript, I mean, what are we really doing? It was like, what are we really doing if you're not shipping with TypeScript? Which I guess is
yeah,
a good thing that it's kind of grown in that way. But yeah.
yeah. No, that's cool. So yeah, so we've talked a little bit about Angular. There's also something, a project called NGRX.
Hmm.
I I'm assuming it has to do with RxJS, but I don't know if you want to maybe speak to that project a bit. I'm not super familiar with it because I've been more in React land when I was doing front
Hmm.
end. So
Yeah. So NGR, as I mentioned before, NGRX is a set of libraries for building reactive Angular applications, and the main thing that we focus on is state management in Angular. And Angular has gone a long time without having its own, well, having a like a dedicated its own primitive for building reactive applications. So
okay,
NGRX was founded by Rob Warmald, who used to work at Google, who used to work on the Angular team, but he built NGRX, started NGRX completely outside of as a like a side project. And
okay,
the goal of NGRX in the beginning was to basically have a version of Redux for Angular. It was like a mix
okay,
of Redux and RxJS together, which is uh, if you're depending on your point of view, like the hardest of both things to combine together. So,
yeah,
the general idea was like you have the Redux pattern, and you have your actions and reducers, and then you combine that with RxJS being the mechanism that we use for observables and having reactive streams. So it started out as that. So we just had like the NGRX store,
okay,
which is like the main. It's basically like Redux for Angular, pretty
okay,
much like the basic set of tools that you would use
okay.
for global state management. But yeah, it's grown, definitely grown a lot from there, from just being the store library to having libraries for managing side effects and integrating with the Angular router and managing collections and even other parts. Redux Dev Tools, it integrates like first party
Oh, no
and
way.
basically has a first party integration with that too. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, we definitely built a like an entire like ecosystem around it and a community also, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super neat. A fun little fact. the e-commerce place I told you where I used to work at, the
Hmm.
.NET shop. One of my coworkers, he works at Microsoft now, but he created the NG Redux project.
Oh.
Uh, so I remember like we were using this, like this is before it got more popular, I think.
Hmm.
So and when I was doing React, like most of the React I did in the early days was it was all Redux,
Yep.
uh, and I think Redux worked well. It gets verbose with having to create the actions and do all
Hmm.
that stuff, but it it does the job well, I think. But it's cool that yeah, I'm kind of curious how that works with like if we talk about observables and like RxJS for a second there, and
Hmm.
and also just to clarify, is NGRX a wrapper on RxJS, or is it literally a separate project and you've just implemented some of RxJS, or
Well, it builds on top of RxJS. So the things that you would normally use with RxJS, like operators and like behavior subjects, although
okay,
the store itself is a behavior subject underneath. So if you know how
okay,
to use
gotcha,
RxJS, then you get that same experience of being able to use operators and subscribing and
okay,
unsubscribing from observables, because it's all observables under the hood. We're just exposing like the
okay,
state of the application like over time as an observable, and you can modify that through the actions and reducers. So
okay. And I promise I'm not grilling you here. I'm just curious about some things. Like
yeah, sure.
so like when React came out, you know, the whole thing about it was like immutability. What goes
Hmm.
in always returns the same output. One way data binding. The data flows and
Hmm.
actions go up, and then data flows down again. And I remember for at least Angular 1.4 that I mentioned, there was two-way data binding, from
Oh
what I
yeah.
remember. And I'm curious, like what pattern has modern Angular adopted? And I imagine it probably ties into the NGRX as well. But
Hmm. Yeah, there's I'll start out with saying the two-way data binding still exists in modern Angular today.
okay,
We call it if you're familiar, what we used to call the banana in the box. You can still do that in modern Angular, but
okay,
it depends on. I think the community is kind of divided on that, because we in NGRX or in using, like you said, that pattern in general in Angular, we do encourage like the one-way data flow where
hmm,
the you dispatch actions as a separate thing from reading like the state. So, and you can't just
okay,
modify those two things at the same time. So in that case, we do encourage, like I said, the one-way data flow, but two-way data binding does exist in Angular still, and
okay,
it's used in places like there's a forms module in Angular where you can use two-way data binding, and there are two different forms libraries in Angular.
okay,
One leans into the two-way data binding, and then one is which is the template-driven forms, and then the
okay,
other one is the reactive forms, which kind of leans into the RxJS side of things. So um, like I said, it just depends on which side of that you want to be on as far as how you use two-way data binding. But it's
okay.
there for people who want to use it, or if you discourage it, then of course you're going to go down the other path. So.
Okay, yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, because it's interesting how I haven't messed around with like solid JS really
Hmm.
yet, but there's the whole reactiveness now, and and Ryan Carnato, my coworker who created the project, he talks about a lot of this inspiration came from another project called Knockout JS, which I actually used
Hmm.
to back at that other company a long time ago, and it was definitely handy. I mean, I think that the one way data binding came about because people were like, why are all these things changing? Like I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, I mean, it was expected, but they were still like, why is it doing that? I just wanted to change this and so on. So,
Hmm.
yeah. But, so yeah, it's just kind of interesting now because like obviously React still has the one way data flow. Stuff like
Hmm.
Solid.js, I I I don't know what you call reactive. Is that considered two way then? I don't really know. Uh,
Uh, I don't know. I wouldn't. I have been following Solid pretty. I watch Ryan streams on. He does those like super long streams on
Yeah,
Fridays,
yeah.
and I do. I definitely get a chance to watch some of those as well as yours also. Um, but
Oh,
yeah, I
excellent.
haven't seen him mention about specifically about calling it two-way data binding. He always refers
Yeah,
to it as like reactivity and those
yeah,
primitives around that. So um,
y-
I
yeah,
haven't seen any of the examples or anything where it uh, promotes that as a thing, but I'm not sure if it actually does it or not. But I have been following
yeah,
Solid, and I really like where the
yeah,
project is going, and
yeah.
looking forward to trying it out more too.
Yeah, no, I've just read about it, and I do catch Ryan's streams, but sometimes I just because they're like you said they're very long, and
Hmm.
sometimes I just can't do it. Not because it's not interesting. It's just like I have to do other things. So,
Yeah, it's
but
one of those. Yeah, it's one of those ones where I start the listen to the stream, and then it kind of goes. It one of those things kind of sits in the background, and I listen to it,
yeah,
and I pop in and out, and then like he'll like I said, it still be going for hours, and then I'll leave, and I'll come back, and he's still streaming later on. So it's definitely one of those casual streams that I listen to. But like I said, yeah, definitely really interested in solid JS and uh, apart from Angular and looking, like I said, really want to
yeah,
like try it some more because I think Ryan is he's very good at taking a balanced approach to other like solutions like React and Angular and everything else. So
yeah.
I find that a little bit refreshing in this hot take land of going at other ecosystems and things.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I haven't had a chance to chat to him with him too much, even though we work at the same place. I had a
Mhm.
good conversation with him when he first started, but yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, obviously, he's a fan of Solid.js. He created it, but yeah, I really do like how he really like those long streams we were talking about. He really goes into the nuts and bolts of all these things and is
Mhm.
pretty pragmatic about it and stuff. So, but yeah, not that we're here to talk about solid JS, but
So I thought this was an Angular stream. We're talking
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
solid. I was just kidding.
yeah, yeah. I dropped a couple links to NGRX and the Angular sites. What?
Yep.
So what? Yeah. So one question I had because you were mentioning the two-way data binding still available, but the kind of like best practice these days is go with the one-way data flow. I imagine is that
Yeah.
what you were alluding to? Okay.
Yeah. Definitely, the one-way data flow is promoted pretty heavily within the ecosystem. Like I said, the one place is the forums because that usually people like the convenience of the two-way data binding in
Yeah.
forums. And there have been some heated discussions about the like I said the two solutions about
Okay.
forms and Angular, which one people prefer. So I've used both of them. I say choose what works for you, and
Yeah.
um, but yeah, and then you can kind of make your own choices of going forward from there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I haven't used either, but I'd kind of agree with that take. Like, is if you're not affecting the user experience in a negative way and it works well, yeah, just throw the "it depends" trademark up there and
Yes, of
cool.
course. That's the developer escape hatch.
Yeah,
It
yeah, exactly.
depends.
Okay, cool. So we've talked a bit about uh, Angular and JRX. You were mentioning some other things because these things didn't, at least from what I remember, they didn't exist. Like the Angular router and so on. There's like a lot more things in there now, and there's another thing that I think you might have tweeted it out, or it was on my Twitter timeline that
Mhm.
um, does Angular support JSX now? Or I saw something about component changes in
Oh,
components.
oh yeah. No, Angular does not support JSX. Angular has its own templating system similar to Angular. I'll say similar to Angular JS, but yes, they both
Okay.
still have like the string based templates, and then those strings get transformed into or compiled into JavaScript.
Okay.
So Angular still has its own system in that way to build its own templates and everything. And I've uh, talked about like what if like it's more like a pipe dream of what if Angular did support JSX like all the other
Okay.
frameworks and things like what would that look like, and is it even possible to do? So that was probably more of me just tinkering around. But yeah, to go back to like things like the Angular router, yeah, I had gotten involved with Angular a lot in a lot of ways through the Angular router because
Oh,
they
okay.
effectively didn't have one at at one point in time. So
Yeah.
NGRX actually we actually had we actually built a router for Angular back then when before Angular had basically had a stable router of its own, and it had
Okay.
all the like a lot of the pieces that were there, and we ended up like collaborating with the Angular team and folding a version of that router into what became the Angular router. So like
Oh,
all
no
the
way.
things
Okay.
having of the router like as an observable and using observables to control the flow of how you navigate with the router and everything. We had, like I said, me and my buddy Mike Ryan, who has been a friend, longtime friend of mine, and another co-creator on NGRX also.
Okay.
We worked on that, and that was even before we like got in heavy into the state management side of things. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. So I've kind of got an idea of the landscape of what Angular is today, and then this just kind of brings it to the next project. So I looked at this briefly because I actually didn't realize there was a meta framework for Angular because
Hmm.
everything that I remember about Angular was always kind of like you build your own and just kind
Yeah.
of not cobble it together, but like wherever you worked, you probably put some things in place to have like some kind of template to start a new project with certain things.
Hmm.
So is analog JS kind of it's a meta framework, so it's kind of like Angular's answer to something like Solid or Next or Remix, but for Angular, basically.
Yeah, definitely so. The like you said, the way you usually build Angular apps today is uh, you just use there. Well, there's different ways you could do it. You could use the Angular CLI, which is like maintained by the team itself, and it gives you a lot of things out of the box as far as being able to build, test, and develop your Angular applications. So
Okay.
there's the Angular CLI. So that's just it's like its own thing. And then of course there's tools out there like NX, which has integrations with Angular also, where you can still
Yeah.
do some of those things and kind of scale up your Angular application. So there's NX you can use with that. And then like I said, Analog is a project that I've thought about for a long time, but never like pulled the trigger on it because that
Okay.
was it's an ambitious project to say the least. I would say because
Okay.
like you said, most of these other projects like Next and SvelteKit, Solid Start, like they're I guess maintained by the people who own that framework per se,
Yeah.
and um, and Analog is probably closer to like Nuxt in that there are people who work in the Vue ecosystem, but that like the Vue itself doesn't own Nuxt as like a product. So
Yeah.
it's like it's built independently of the Vue team, even though they collaborate with them and everything. But
Okay.
yeah, Analog is like Nuxt. It's like SvelteKit. It's Angular's version of that. At least that's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the other if you look at like the landscape of where everything else is in the web these days, and most frameworks have a meta framework to go along with them, like React has Next and or Remix, and like I said, Nuxt and SvelteKit and Solid Start and these other ones. So those are I felt like Angular should have a spot in the ecosystem also, as far as having a meta framework that does some of those things that Angular doesn't do out of kind of integrate some of those things that Angular doesn't necessarily do out of the box.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to the GitHub repo now, and so are you the core maintainer now, or okay?
I started the project. Analog was like I said, I started the project from basically from idea to where it is today, as far as what I wanted it to be, like the features
Okay.
I wanted it to have and things like that. So yeah, or Analog is like completely built from the ground up from scratch as far as the features and things like that. And like I said, the main things that I wanted in analog were, like, of course, a lot of the um, tools that we use today were like built on top of Webpack, and of course, Vite has come along and like
Yeah.
eaten some of that up in general, and so wanted to see
Shit.
what the experience was like with using Angular and Vite together in that case, because I know people have asked about it,
Yeah.
and so wanted to build with something that kind of integrated those two things together and kind of use that as like the baseline for some of the other features that were in analog also.
Cool, cool. Just want to give a shout out to Jen Juno for rating. So, hey, thanks, Jen. Hope you're all doing well today. Um,
Hey,
okay, no,
thanks.
yeah, that's super cool. I think my brain was moving a little slow there. So this is literally your project. I for some reason
Hmm.
at first I thought it was I knew you were a maintainer. But I didn't realize you were the creator of it. So like you said, that is pretty ambitious. But I think it's also pretty cool that you're doing this now because like you said, like the tooling for bundling is so much better now. And it's
Hmm.
not it's not to throw shade on Webpack. Like Vite wouldn't exist if Webpack had never existed.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I guess kind of where is the project at this point? Like obviously it's still in flux, but like
Hmm.
you were talking about some pieces there. Like you can obviously already dip into the Angular ecosystem. So you've got the Angular router, you've got NGRX. So you have some good building blocks to like make the meta framework.
Hmm.
Is and I'm guessing it's not done, but are there like some big chunks of it that you're working on or want to work on, or can I grab analog today and start shipping apps?
Yeah, yeah. I guess it depends on what your level of comfortability, level of comfort is for that sort of thing. But
Okay.
yes, analog is like I said, analog is separate from NGRX in that you can use NGRX is like a piece you can use in an analog project. But
Okay.
the main features that analog has is like I said, built on top of Vite, so it has that part of it. You get that kind of developer experience there.
Yeah.
Uh, but as like to me, there are a few things that you get with a meta framework out of the box, and those things are like file-based routing
Yeah.
or like server-side rendering and server-side or static site generation, and plus it's like API routes. So it has support for those things built
Okay.
in today that you can use. And I need to update the. There was some of these things. These things are there, but I would still like them to be a little more tested, a little more um,
Okay.
polished and everything. But those are things you can like spin up an analog app today and use it and ship it, and the experience should be the same. What I want the
Okay.
experience to be is the same as like you're building an Angular application, but we're
Mm-hmm.
taking care of a lot of those developer experience things for you, like you would expect to have in a meta framework. Because Angular already does like a whole lot on its own. So having
Yeah.
the meta framework to kind of wrap those things and make it a nice experience is kind of the goal of the project.
No, that's really nice, and I know we're gonna get into bootstrapping an analog project at some point on the
Hmm.
stream. But yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, file-based routing and API routes, those are kind of table stakes for any meta framework nowadays. So it's
Hmm.
nice you got that in there. The static site generation, obviously too, SS hybrid SSR. So like you've already those are like big chunks, I would say. So like to me, at least looking at this, I feel like from what you're telling me, I could ship a production app with it, even though there's still stuff going on with the project.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you wanted to ship, let's say everybody's favorite meta framework thing to build is a blog, you
Yeah,
could definitely take a blog and build, or take analog and build a blog with that and ship it, because I've been doing the same thing. I did a stream, I think maybe last week or so,
okay,
and I was joking that you can put those little messages on Twitch that before you go live, and my
yeah,
message in there was I built an entire meta framework to write a blog post, and because it was a that's what people tend to do is you kind of
yeah,
go
yeah,
up the ladder as you're trying to do something, and you kind of maybe procrastinate, maybe trying to build something else on top of that. But
yeah.
yeah, that is one of the things you can build along with it outside of apps.
Cool. Got a question from a first time chatter in the chat. they're wondering how is it possible that Analog uses Vite with Angular? They heard that it's impossible because of NG modules.
Oh, good question. Um, First of all, I'll say you can use analog with a project that uses NG modules. It's more about how Angular does compilation, um, because the way Angular compilation works in general is that because it uses TypeScript as a whole or wraps TypeScript, it needs to know about like the whole like your all your files and everything. It doesn't process like files one at a time. It's like similar to how you can use Babel or these other tools
Okay.
in Vite, and it just transformed these individual files. So uh, what we're doing in analog is a bit of a hybrid in that we're still using the same compilation, but
Okay.
we're running the TypeScript compiler and then analyzing the files and just letting it transform the files individually. So like we build
Okay.
everything at the top, and then as you develop, then we only rebuild the things that need to get rebuilt. So it's kind
Okay.
of taking advantage of a little bit of how Angular works today. And in the future, if they move to that like truly single file compilation model, then it'll just like slide right into how
Okay.
Vite works.
No, that's super cool. And you were talking about NX. I was dipping my toes into NX the other day because I was looking into a bug at work. For folks that don't know, I work on the frameworks team at Netlify,
Mm,
and yeah, NX looks really interesting. And that one thing they have is like the NX cloud. So like I mean it has caching already, but so that
hmm
uh, like for analog itself, are you using NX right now for like a mono repo and tooling, or are you using something else? Or
uh, yes, I actually used to work at Narwhal/NX.
oh, no
So I
way,
used to work on that. Yeah, I used to work on that team too. So
cool.
like I said, I've been around the around the sphere, I guess. But yeah, I really like NX, and I'm actually using NX as like I'm using NX in a few ways actually. Like I'm using it for like the mono repo management of analog, and we're
Yeah.
using it in analog and in NGRX just to manage the packages and everything, and like all
Okay.
the build tools. So that's one side of it, and then they have a Narwhal/Vite package that
Okay.
lets you just use Vite directly in an Angular project or NX project. So that was one of those things I could lean on that project to have the more native like feel in Angular when you're even if you're using analog. So you still get like the ng serve and
Oh,
ng
nice.
build and all that kind of thing. You're not having to like step completely out of the Angular ecosystem, or it feels like you're not stepping completely out of the Angular ecosystem to use
Okay.
analog. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely got
gotcha,
some
gotcha.
integration going there.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I actually just messaged Yuri today. I said, hey, if you ever want to come on the stream,
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to kind of go through NX because we won't talk too much about NX now, but like it's not just for mono repos. It's got all kinds of tooling and task runners and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's like kind of like a I don't know a really good tool belt to get stuff done. Um,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
really, Yuri is very. I really enjoy working with Yuri, and I still talk to him pretty regularly. Of course, when when I find bugs and things when I need for the Vite stuff, so I
Yeah,
lean on
yeah.
him in the NX team to help me out there.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Um, just another thing I wanted to say about the analog project. I love just in terms of like removing any kind of friction for somebody. Uh, the docs right front and center, and also just
Mm-hmm.
opening it in StackBlitz. So like me as somebody, like I could literally be on my iPad and just open it up and just start exploring. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a really nice way to get things started. I don't even have to pull things down on my own machine. So, um, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
sorry, go ahead.
that's usually the if you want people to like try your thing, you got to make it like as easy as possible. And StackBlitz is definitely one of the ways that I use for that. That link in StackBlitz. I
Hmm.
actually gave a talk at ViteConf
Oh, no
about
way.
Vite and Angular and analog, of course, and If we want to drop a link in the chat, it's analogjs.org/new, and that will take
Okay.
them directly to the Stack Blitz link too, to be able
Okay.
to try
Cool.
it without having to download anything.
Analog. Is it analog.js or analog.js?
Analogjs.org, yeah,
Okay.
slash
Cool.
new.
All
Yeah.
right. Cool.
So
There we go.
anybody can drop that, go to that link, and it'll take you to the latest version of what Analog has right there in Stack Blitz, and everything works there, even with the API routes and everything, which is pretty cool.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Uh, I definitely want to look into analog here, so we can definitely open something up. Um, I guess like when I like, is it okay if I just go ahead and click on the stack blitz here and kind of get us fired up to
Yeah,
see?
sure, that works.
Cool. All right. I've used Stack Blitz a few times. I've used stuff. I think Stack Blitz is super interesting. Gitpod and code spaces are also interesting too. But from what I know of Stack Blitz, well, one, it loads up super fast, but I think it's mainly for full stack JS or TypeScript apps, or does it support others? Do you know? I can't remember.
I think Stack Blitz supports a little, but basically a little bit of everything. Like you
Okay.
can use a full stack app, you can use a regular, just client side framework app. Usually supports
Okay.
a lot of those things.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, those things are usually supported out of the box, but they have like a whole menu of things that you can use there. So
Okay. Cool. All right. So this is just
okay, I
loading up.
see. Of course, we get on you get on the stream and you get an error. That's how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So is that okay, what's it
Let's
saying?
see. Trying to see if I can
Here, let me
bring it
zoom in
up
here.
here.
I can let's see here. Angular compiler error. Also, side note for the folks checking out the stream, that's the beauty of live streaming, like Brandon said. It wouldn't be
Oh, okay.
interesting if things didn't work.
Yeah, that one is interesting. Environment providers. Okay, it doesn't have that. Okay, so something must have changed
Okay.
recently about that export there. So, but I've tried,
Okay.
like I said, I've tried it locally um, on my machine. Let's see, because it's on latest of Angular, so that part should,
Okay.
unless they were like remove that token or something, which I don't think they would have,
Let's see
but
here.
that's why the reason why it's getting that error.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay, I see. The It's giving me old versions of Angular.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to have at least. I guess that's a good thing to point out here. You have to
Okay.
have at least version 15, the version 15 of the Angular packages to use analog.
Okay,
Um,
gotcha. Okay, so let's just
so we
change that.
can, yeah, if we could just change those version 14s to 15s or
Okay.
15.0.0, yeah. And then the same with the Angular dev kit
Okay.
slash build Angular, that one too, and the Angular CLI, those two.
Oh, just
Um,
refreshed. Hold on a sec here.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Here.
yeah. So you
Okay.
change that one to 15.0.0, and then the Angular CLI.
Okay.
And that
That should be
hopefully when
good.
it saves and updates those, we'll get some, at least get something different.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we can try yeah, I'm not sure why this one is
Hmm.
um, such an old version here. Let me see if I can. I'll shoot you a Stack Blitz link, and maybe we can see
Yeah, yeah, we can
what.
work with that one. Like, I mean, because we don't need to debug this now.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you got a working one.
yeah. I'm surprised it gave that version. Or usually when I go to that URL, it gives you like the latest from the analog repo itself, because it's like pulling
Oh,
directly
okay.
from there. So yeah, I'll
Yeah,
shoot you over one here really quick as soon as it's
cool. You can drop
done.
that in Discord or you can even drop it in the chat if you want, if folks want to fork it.
Okay, let's see. Fork that, and I'll drop it in the chat here.
All right, everybody analog away. All
There
right,
you go.
let's copy that.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it looked like somebody had tried it in the chat, but But yeah, I'm not sure why it gave you an older version of the packages and things, but we'll work with this one because
And
it
just
should be,
hiccup. Yeah, this is all up to date.
yeah,
Yeah.
all up to date and everything. So
Yeah. Cool. I'm just gonna turn something on.
it's like maybe you hit the URL for maybe you hit the URL before and they gave you like an older version or something. Not sure what's going on there,
Okay.
but this one should work. I tried it on mine, so that's what
Yeah, yeah.
I gave the classic response. It works on my machine. I was like, why
Yeah.
doesn't it work on my machine though?
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
always like to joke works on my Docker. Um, but yeah. Okay, so this is building up. So okay, so we got it up and running here. Again, kudos to StackBlitz, that loaded up pretty quick.
Yeah, there
Okay,
we go.
cool. So we've got the classic. We've got a counter here. So if I click on
Hmm.
it, okay. And is this using NGRX, or is this like does NG?
Yeah,
I guess yeah.
yeah, it's just using the it's not using NGRX in this particular sample app because these I guess I consider them to be separate things. You
Okay.
could bring NGRX in an application if you wanted to, but this
Yeah.
one is just like straight up just like a really simple app with a counter, and then you can kind of build up what you want to build in from
Okay.
there if you want to bring in NGRX or something else. So
Okay. I guess before we kind of dive into it, is there anything you want to call out in the folder structure, or like maybe just kind of I think it looks pretty straightforward, but like
mhm.
maybe just
Yeah,
to
the Yeah, we can definitely take a walkthrough of some of the pieces here. Um, like I said, this uses Vite under the hood, so you got your Vite config down there at the bottom
okay.
that you can configure custom like Vite options and things like that. Some of the things come from the narwhal/Vite
Okay.
builder that you can use in this project, but like I said, it mostly defers to the Vite config, which I think is pretty nice. And
Yeah.
yeah, on the yeah the so like I said, this looks like a standard Vite project where we have the plugins and then we have the analog plugin there in the project that it kind of enables wrap.
Okay.
It basically wraps all the nice parts together. I would say with the file
Yeah.
based routing into a nice plugin, so you don't have to configure a lot of things out of the box there.
Oh no, that's cool. That's nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
so if we
cool.
go to the source folder,
Yeah.
we can look at the in the app folder. Um, so there's it's if you're using like Angular, familiar with using Angular before, and you want to use like server side render and things like that, you usually have to
Yeah.
install a separate package, but or install like Angular Universal. I think that's the most common one that people use, but uh,
Okay.
Analog has support for doing like server side rendering and stuff just right out of the box. So that it have like the main and the main.server there for
Yeah.
those two files there. But yeah, in the app folder, we got the routes. And if you expand that, and then we just have the file based routing in here. So
Okay.
normally if you go to, like I say, you go to other projects like Next, which they've changed like the layout of how they do theirs. But this one follows like the standard convention of if you have an index.js
Okay.
file, then use the index.js, set up a component there as a default export, and then that'll be a route. So
Okay.
in here we just have our home route, but you can add more as you need to.
Okay. And I know what these are, but for folks that might not be familiar with Angular, can you kind
Hmm.
of just briefly explain what a decorator is? So like the at here is a decorator in JS. I don't think it's at stage 3, I think. I know it's being implemented in TypeScript right now, but
Yeah, these are the decorators of Angular are they look visually like decorators, but they're more like annotations when they get compiled down. But
okay.
the decorators in Angular are the ways that you basically Angular knows how to compile these classes. Because if you scroll down to the bottom there of the file, there's
Okay.
just like a simple class there that you can use and that's like the controller for this particular component. So, and the
Okay.
component decorator, along with the other decorators in Angular, are things that tell Angular how to compile certain things. So, if you have a component, it tells you like where's the template or how what the string template is for this component, or what
Okay.
its selector is. Like in React, of course, you don't have like a notion of selectors or like HTML selectors.
Okay.
But the yeah, that selector there at the top of the file is how it knows
Oh yeah, here.
what it should be looking for in your HTML.
Okay, so that yeah, okay, so that would be an HTML kind of
Yeah, it
custom
just
element app dash home.
yeah.
Okay.
Effectively, it's like a custom element in your because this is where like yeah, it would be an element in your HTML that's added, and Angular knows how to handle it. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
the main thing that's in the component. So there's like the template and the selector are the two main things, and
Okay.
the standalone flag there is relatively new because
Okay.
Angular has like simplified the way you can build a component by using this standalone flag. But because before, if you build a component in Angular, you would also need a thing that you'd also need a thing that's called an ng module. And people are like, well,
Okay.
what's that thing? Well, that was the thing that let Angular know how to compile things before it gave it context of how to
Okay.
compile that component and what things that component depended on. But now with the standalone components or components using your standalone flag, you can
Hmm.
tell Angular what components it needs without, or you can just do those in line in the component
Okay,
decorator
I see.
itself. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And yeah, so we got the selector, the standalone property as well, and then the
Hmm.
template, which is just a tag. It's a template string with the markup. Um,
Yeah.
I don't have because I'm not on my own VS Code, but I know there's a VS Code extension that gives you
Yeah.
IntelliSense within the template string. I forget the name, but
Yeah, it's the Angular language service is
okay.
what yeah, it'll give you hints and everything. A lot of tooling. Angular is really big on tooling. So the Angular
Yeah.
language service will make your template look and styles look nice, and you give you syntax highlighting and all that good stuff if you're using that like on your local machine or in VS Code, and then
Okay.
other IDEs like WebStorm and those have their own plugins that give you that IntelliSense and things also.
Okay. And we got the styles here. Styles, I think, is pretty self-explanatory what styles are for. But
Hmm.
my question here is, it's an array. Um, I'm assuming these are scope styles for the component, or do they become global? Or
Yeah, so the components are scoped by default in
okay,
Angular. So any styles that you write in here, whether they be inline in the component, and you can also have external styles too. But
okay,
any styles that you include in this particular component, they will be scoped down to the component itself without you having to do anything extra. Now you
okay,
can change it's called a view encapsulation, but you can
okay,
change it to where those styles will become global after you they will become global even if you define them in here. But usually the standard practice is to use them, they encapsulate them. So
okay, cool. And I imagine at some point there's a Vite plugin that just generates like garbled CSS classes so that it's literally
yeah.
just for that. That's what most of the frameworks do.
Well, yeah, the Angular does the well, yeah, Vite handles like if you're using like Sass, you can use like inline Sass in these components too. But
Oh,
if
no
you're
way.
just
Cool.
using the regular CSS, then it just compiles, it just brings in that CSS directly into the Angular component, and it will add the necessary tags to them
Okay.
during compile time. So it's not Vite doesn't necessarily have to handle that part of it unless you're having like some global styles that you want to Vite to handle like separate from this style. Like you have like your
Okay.
styles.css at the top of your project or something. So those will be like
Okay.
truly global styles. Vite can definitely handle those.
Okay. And my last question here is,
Yeah.
I'm curious why it's an array instead of just a template string. Is like you can obviously have other things, but is it
Yeah.
just another? What's the other things? I guess.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, this is one of those things that's been debated, but it's just for if you wanted to have different, maybe you wanted to style different arrays of strings, you could use you could just put one style in there, and that's usually what people do.
Okay.
But you have the option of having different, I guess, chunks of strings for styles in that array. So it's not anything like
Oh, okay.
difference in how it's handled or anything. It's just if you want to group them some kind of way. But there
Okay.
has been discussion about making it simpler to where it's just like styles and it's just a string. Because most of the time people aren't going to separate them in that
Yeah.
way, and they just want to have the one string there. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And just to bring the whole component story home here, I'm just gonna
Hmm.
collapse this here. So we've got this increment. So okay, so this is a ES6 class called home component, and we've got a counter, and it increments as the increment method gets called, and
Hmm.
because this annotation's on that class, there's something in Angular that knows that that method is available to the component. I imagine in here somewhere there's that click. I don't know where it is.
If you
Oh
scroll
yeah,
down to
here.
where the button is for the counter, yeah, that button counter there. So there's a couple of
Yeah.
things going on here. Is like click handlers, like I said, familiar with React. There's like on click to handle click handlers, and event handlers in Angular use the parentheses around the event. So you could use
Okay.
these for built-in browser events or even custom events if you have
Oh, okay.
like a component that provides its own events that you can use. So, and then the
Okay.
increment is that maps to the the method that we defined in the class itself. So it knows how to connect those two things together. So we got the event handler, and then we got the event, and then the event handler, and then of course the count right there is just
Yeah.
binding to that property in the class itself.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
No,
we're
that's
kind of
that.
using the one-way data flow here where you can click and the update aren't like doing the same thing, or you're not reading and writing on the same count. So
Okay. And this is I've got so many questions. Sorry.
oh
Um,
yeah, feel free.
so okay, so looking at the class here, so we click the button, it will increment. So this count plus
Hmm.
plus gets updated to one and so on. Um, in terms of the rendering of the component, because like for example in React it always re-renders when there's
Yeah.
props that change. Is it the same kind of paradigm in Angular, or does it, I mean, I know there's VDOM in React and then it pinpoints exactly what needs to change, but
Hmm.
in Angular, what's kind of like the, I guess, maybe reconciliation process
Well,
there?
Angular is similar to how I'll say similar to how Solid works in that it only the class only gets set up once, or the
Okay.
component only gets set up once. So any events that happen after that will just be like isolated to where they are. It doesn't need to like rerun or reconstruct the whole component every time like a change
Okay.
happens. So everything is isolated in that way. It's not exactly like how Solid does because they use like really fine grain
Yeah.
rendering and fine grain reactivity. But like at a high level, if we're talking about like the counter example, if you click the count button in Angular, or if you log in the constructor in an
Yeah.
Angular class, then it only get called once, no matter how many times you click the
Oh,
button.
okay,
So
okay, okay. Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha. Okay, let's do that for some
yeah. So you
fun.
could go in there and add a constructor there just to log out what it's doing there.
Okay.
Well, you don't have to
Okay.
add the super because we're not
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah, sorry. It's its own
extending
class, yeah.
anything there. Yeah.
Okay. And oh, I don't need that. Uh that's what I need. I'm just not typing properly today. Okay. So cool. All right.
There you go.
So it's gonna restart. Just give it a second here. Cause
Yeah, so yeah, Stack Bliss I
it's
believe has its
reinstalling.
own. Oh man, I thought we already forked it, but maybe this is
It's
the
because
first actual change. Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's why. That's also why we get all the squiggly lines if nothing's installed yet, I think. But that'll just take
Yeah.
a second. But yeah, okay, so that's definitely interesting that it only instantiates it once. But
Hmm.
that's obviously per instance though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
okay.
if you were to have multiple of these components on a page, of course, they're all their own individual things. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's that part of it too. And um like I said, it only logs the component out or instantiates the component once, and then it has its own change detection system that it uses to that notify things of changes. What's going on here?
It's
Wow, that's a
complaining
lot.
about dev. I'm just gonna hide the errors actually, and then
Oh,
okay.
right. Stack Blitz actually has a console log in the.
Oh no
If
way.
you
Okay.
scroll down to the bottom on the right side there, yeah, you can close that one, and go down to the bottom of the thing there. It should be one down there at the bottom for the console.
Wait, I might
Uh,
see it. Is it like it's there's
uh,
the I don't know why
well,
I
you
don't
might have
see it.
to zoom out some.
Oh yeah, yeah, true. Where are you at, console? Uh, yeah, I know it's got to be in there because most of them have it
Okay,
like.
maybe they moved it or something, but yeah,
Oh, they
there's
removed the console log. Somebody said in the chat.
oh, okay, wow,
Okay.
that was that was like my go-to when something's going on in Stack Blitz,
Okay, so let's
but
hide
yes,
those issues
the
again, and let's just
yeah,
for if I just save it, man, those go away errors.
but yes, the if we were just looking at the like I said the console itself, then we would see the just that thing get logged at one time.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Cool. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I'm not gonna worry about it, but I do get it. So we could yeah. I'm not gonna touch it anymore because
yeah.
there's something going on in Stack Blitz with the dev tools that's like, but yeah, that makes sense though that it's not so it there's no like it makes sense that it's not reinstantiating the instance of that class. So
Mhm.
uh, that's cool.
Yeah, so the class only runs once, and then at that point, then change detection, Angular's change detection system, which is called Zone.js, is what it uses underneath for
Okay.
its change detection. And for those who are unfamiliar with that, Zone.js is a library that patches a lot of the native APIs. Yeah, Zone.js, and it's basically
Yeah.
how Angular does what it does. But it patches a lot of the browser APIs like click events, set timeout, promises. It when you load in Zone.js, it makes it attaches to those things, and then Angular knows when to has a frame of reference of when to update based on things that you do from that
Okay.
point of view. So that's where
Cool.
kind of where the magic comes from, as
I
far as you
gotcha.
not having to wire up things to click handlers, because it just handles that part for you. Because
Okay.
you can turn it off in particular places, and so that's one thing that Angular has today. And then of course there have been some discussions of having another option in the future. That's, so we're going back to solid again. That's based on like signals, to
Okay.
where that could be something that comes along too.
Yeah, no, that could definitely be interesting because I know like most of my experience has been in React land. Like when I worked at Dev2, we used Preact.js, which is
Mm-hmm.
for folks that don't know what Preact is, it's like a pretty much the same API as React, but just a lot more lightweight. And they introduced signals, I think a few months last year
Oh yeah,
sometime.
yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, so it's yeah, I definitely think that'd be interesting if some reactivity, reactive primitive came to Angular. But I'm also curious about because like observables are reactive, right? Like
Mhm. Yeah,
so what's
yeah,
the difference, I guess?
yeah. The uh, observables are a form of reactivity. I think that at least, some of this is just from me listening to like Ryan and other people talk about, what reactivity is, but
Yeah.
um, the observables are like events that or values or events that can happen over time. So you could start out with an observable that gives you an observable, and then change that value over time. Uh,
Yeah.
but the closest thing I think that is comparing observables to something like signals is that you get an initial value and you can ask for that value at any point in time. With observables, you don't have operators in like signals, but you can. The closest thing to a signal in RxJS land is probably like the behavior subject, because you
Yeah.
start with an initial value and you can always get what that value is, and that's if you don't use any of the operators and things. So
Okay.
RxJS gives you a form of reactivity, but I think it's different in the way of how like signals work, and
Okay.
just because of the tool set that like RxJS has as far as the operators and being able to manipulate those streams and events over time. So I would say
Yeah.
that signals is probably like a maybe like a lower level, like the observable itself and a signal, I would say are similar, but
Hmm.
or a behavior subject and a signal are similar if you don't use anything else on top of them.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. No, that makes sense to me because yeah, because the observable has stuff like what is the skip and then all those things. I
Hmm.
don't remember all the methods. It's been a long time, um, but yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Okay, so we've taken a peek at what a component looks like, how you can wire it up and stuff. Let's maybe just take a peek at a few other things here. So we've got so that was the first route. So if you go to the main page, which is what we see right now,
Hmm.
um, I'm curious about the testing story in Angular. Is there a specific Angular testing framework, or is it using something like Jest out of the box, or
Hmm. Yeah, so Angular out of the box today uses Karma, which is pretty outdated.
mhm.
I'll admittedly say it's pretty outdated at this point. Most of the uses Karma and Jasmine, I would say more specifically. Most of the
Okay.
community, I would say outside of like Google and things, they use Jest for testing Angular apps. But that's something that you have to like set up on your
Hmm.
own, unless you're using something like NX, which gives you that out of the box with like Jest and Cypress
Yeah.
tooling there. So Jest is
Okay.
like the uh, preferred test unit testing tool, and like I said, Cypress is the one that you get with NX also. But
Yeah.
analog is another thing that I'm trying to support. There is being able to use like the Vite ecosystem of tools like VTest and
Okay.
things
Yeah.
like that. So it'll enable you to use Angular, test Angular with VTest and still like remain within that
Okay.
ecosystem also.
No, that's cool because I've dipped my toes a bit in Vitesse, and one, it's super fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's I speak French because in Montreal you're bilingual, so like all these Vite terms are like French terms. So like Vitesse is like kind of like just means fast in test,
Yeah.
but there's some nice things about, at least from what I saw with Vitesse, is it's got ESM and TypeScript support out of the box, I think. Whereas like something
Yes.
like Jest, you can have those things, but you have to set up ESM, you have to set up
Mm-hmm.
TypeScript, which is doable, but it's kind of nice to have, like you just get started and it just all works. So, and
Yeah,
it's fast. Yeah.
that is nice because the state of ESM has it's had its own like set of friction. I think that it's kind of
Yeah.
applied to the JavaScript ecosystem just in general. I mean, I like everything that it enables with Vite and everything in Vitesse, but
Hmm.
like getting there and having all the tooling and the packages and everything be compatible with it is like still a seems like a long ways away.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. I know I always say their name incorrectly, but Sindra Sorhas, he's
Hmm.
basically, they've basically made, I think, like most
He's
of
like
the
the author
NPM
of the internet at
ecosystem.
this point. Author
Yeah.
of the NPM on the internet, basically. He has, I don't know
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
many he maintains at this point, but he's like a machine.
Yeah, but I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago. He wrote a blog post where he's like, I'm just tearing the band-aid off. I'm going ESM all the way. So
Oh, wow.
basic, so basically anybody using their packages, if they got newer versions, it's ESM, and which obviously causes some friction potentially, but I don't know. I guess maybe it's kind of like a moment, kind of like when Angular said, "Hey, we're just going all in on TypeScript," and people were like, "Ah," but then it's like fine now. But I
Yeah.
see more and more ESM adoption and like stuff I work on. So like edge compute at Netlify, we're using Dino, and that's all on web standards, including ESM. So like
Hmm.
there's definitely a big push for it, and it's been in the browsers for a while too. But yeah, there's still not everything works. But there's interesting projects like what the heck is it called? There's these CDNs that convert them to ESM for you, like
Oh
ESM
wow, okay.
dot. I'll drop it in the chat. There's one that I know of. It's called ESM.sh.
Hmm.
So, and I'm not positive, but I think the way it works is like it'll have the actual package on the CDN, and then if you want, I I think just it automatically somehow transpiles it and caches it
Hmm.
to an ESM compatible version.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it supports everything, but and I'm also not positive, but
It's
there's
like Veet,
unpackaged.
but in the
Yeah,
cloud. No.
yeah, it could be. Who knows? I know there's unpackaged.com that is a
Yeah,
CDN as well, but I'm not
I
sure
use
if
that one.
they.
I use that one a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they generate ESM or not, or if they just host the packages. But yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, as far as I no, they just host the packages. I usually use unpackage when I don't feel like diving into node modules and I just want to look at the
Yeah, yeah,
package JSON for a project or something. So I just type it in directly. There,
yeah,
that's
yeah, for
usually my
sure.
go-to for unpackage.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Cool. Okay, so we talked about testing a bit here. Just kind of want to go through a whole tour here because this looks it looks like a great project. Like, uh, because I think if I were to start an Angular project today, I would probably reach for this because just for the
Yeah.
things you mentioned at the beginning there, API routes, static site generation, SSR,
Hmm.
server side rendering. Sorry for folks, there's always too many acronyms in our space. Um, so those are definitely compelling reasons, and I'm I'm curious in general. Like this is just more your point of view, but like, how do you feel the Angular ecosystem is these days? Like like I was saying before, people like to dunk on things, and people have definitely dunked on Angular, but there's still like a ton of people using it. So
Hmm.
uh, like. What's your kind of? I mean, I know you're excited about it. You're obviously working on a project for it. What's your kind of general sense of the ecosystem or the community? Are people still like super pumped about Angular or?
Yeah, the um for me, I think that Angular has come a long way, and like Angular itself, the as a framework is still evolving. So I do
Yeah,
think that there's still some excitement around what Angular is doing and how they're basically innovating within their own ecosystem. Like we don't have to jump at all the new shiny things that come out. But I think the team takes of course, the team takes a really measured approach in how they think about these things and updates that they bring along the way. And they
yeah,
focus a lot on backwards compatibility, which can hinder and help you at the same time, depending on how your community feels about it. So
yeah.
uh,
Okay.
Angular, I think, has, like I said, talked about like Angular was one of the first to jump on the TypeScript train. They have like paved the way for a lot of these other frameworks that have made the same decisions, maybe done it a different way, but they were
Yeah,
like one of the first ones to do that. So, and like I said, we talked about standalone components and everything. So for me, Angular is still evolving, and I think that's the exciting part about it. There was a point in time where even me as a person in the Angular community felt like Angular was kind of stagnating compared to all the other frameworks out there. But
yeah.
it definitely has continued to change and continue to evolve, and I think that is what keeps me excited about where Angular is going and what happens to it in the future. Well, these things could change. Things happen every day, but at least from what I can see, what happening right now is Angular is doing well, and I hope it continues to evolve and push forward with these other tools and options out there.
Oh, cool. Um, I'm wondering if you want to. We got about 20 minutes left here because I just want to be mindful of your time. Um, well, I guess there's two things. One, do you think we could do something with SSR in with this template here or is that
Uh,
something that's kind of work in progress or?
yeah, we can do something with that. The one thing that we've been working on and kind of shipped recently here. So if something is a little wonky, we'll see. But yeah, like some of the things that that I didn't mention in the, or that's not at least in the docs on the page there is like using Markdown as routes, and we could actually use those for
Okay.
pre-rendering. So we can definitely get into that because that's usually the if you build a meta framework, you got to build a blog with it or something. So
Yeah, yeah,
we can do
exactly.
definitely do something like that.
You can't say you're a framework if you can't build a blog with it.
Yes, that's you. That's the
Cool.
go-to. It used to be there's like the to-do app, and then there's the blog for the static side
Yeah,
of things.
yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, cool. So if we were gonna like, so we were looking in here before with the components and the routes, and that's renderings. Those are those statically generated pages right now, or those are just like that's single page application mode?
yeah. Still
Okay,
single page application mode at the moment. Uh,
okay.
if you want to share your screen, we can. So I can see we can jump back in because I can't see the share screen right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry. Yeah, I switched our mode. Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, because we were talking a bunch. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
So first thing we can do is well, we can add some routes as markdown, and then we can turn on SSR, and if everything goes well there, we can kind of move forward from there. So yeah, if you just want to
okay.
create a route there called like um, awesome.md or something like that, yeah, that works.
Cool. And does this support gray matter or like or
It does support front matter. So if
front
you want
matter?
to add,
Sorry, not gray
yeah.
matter. Too many
uh,
times.
Front matter, yeah, front matter, gray matter. Uh, I'm not sure what the correct one is, but I just call it front matter. But yes, we
Yeah,
just
no,
recently
it's front
added
matter.
added support for that one. So if you want to add like the title and things at the
Yeah.
top of the file, you can definitely do that. And
Okay.
yeah, from here, like I mentioned before, you can add the front matter there, and you define your route as markdown. And we
Okay.
may have to restart the server, but yeah, from here you can just author regular markdown. So if you want to just give it a title
Okay.
with an H1 or H2, then we can
Okay.
go from there.
All right. Yeah. I'll get rid of the front matter for now. We'll just keep it
Yeah.
simple. All right. Hello, friends. Okay. So pretty straightforward markdown example. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so we have our route there. So if you go to in the URL bar over there in Stack Blitz, if you go to slash awesome at the end over there with that big long GitHub, yeah. If
Okay.
you go to, like I say, we may have to restart it, but we'll see if it just picks it up.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I think
it
we
may,
might need to restart it. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I would say just go ahead and down there in the terminal, yeah, just kill that thing.
And how do we start it up again? What's the command? Oh, ng serve.
Ng, yeah, ng serve.
Yeah.
Yep. So ng serve, and then we're just going to spin up the Vite server again. And of course, we've got an error there. And if we just go back to that, um, you could probably click off that and or click off that dialog, that modal that's
Oh,
up
oh
there with
yeah.
the
Sorry.
red on. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just stretch it. Yeah. So, oh, that's big modal. Where's
Yes.
where? All right.
Yeah.
Escape it.
I've seen this. Yeah. You can just escape out of that and just go to the URL bar and type in slash awesome.
Yeah. I don't know why it's not letting me close that thing, but let's go to awesome. Okay. Fail to resolve import front matter.
Oh, right. Yes.
We need to
Uh,
add that, I guess, eh?
yeah, there are a few. Yeah, I always forget this part. I got to document this stuff better. But yes, let's go back to the terminal, and we can stop the ng serve process there. Yeah, if we can just slide that over.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we can stop that because it lets you do the markdown routes out of the box, but you do need to install some packages first. So if you install
That.
the at analog or front matters one, then at analog JS slash content is another one.
JS
Yeah, at
content.
analog, yeah, JS slash content, and then we want to install the Prism JS package.
Okay. Yeah, that's for
Yeah,
code.
Prism JS
Code.
for syntax highlighting, and then the marked package, and that's the one that actually transforms the markdown into HTML. So yeah, you just install those.
Okay.
Yeah, so the markdown as routes is one thing that we're, because at least how it works kind of like under the hood while that's installing is that we have like a pre-built component that is there that you can use, or that it uses if it detects that you're using markdown as a route. So it kind of embeds your markdown into that component, and then we kind of render the contents from there on the screen on the when you're serving up the app there. So if we got everything there, we can go back to the click outside. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's showing up there, but if you go back to the /awesome, then maybe we'll see something come up there, because the app is, it looks like the app is still coming up correctly in the background.
You see it rendering.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is it? Awesome. Let's see here. That's okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
I like being in the hot seat. It's all good. It's definitely MD.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. I don't see anything in the, or maybe we can open up the console and see if something is happening down there.
Okay. Oh yeah, we got an error. Blitz something. Uncaught and pros. Okay. Here, wait. Let's see.
Oh, right. It's another another step I've forgotten. I should probably have these steps later. I've done it so many times. I've probably just forgotten it's there. But yes, if we go into the the source folder and the main.ts, we'll just have to add the markdown renderer for that. I'm wondering if I should just, my long-term idea was to add a content, or add a template for like a blog or something. So all these things would be like added out of the box. So you can just author your markdown and get going from there. But yes, if you go into the main.ts, then we can add that part to get the last part of this going.
Okay. And
main.ts.
Okay.
So this is where, this is the main.ts, and this is where like the application initially starts up at. And this is where we actually register the file-based routes also, because we kind of determine those from their file system and then provide those to the application itself. So you don't have to wire that up normally, or wire that up yourself. So yeah, if we go into providers, and what we're doing here is adding a provider that will add the renderer for the markdown content. So if you just in that array, if you add provide content as a function, and it may give you some autocomplete there. It should be provide content. And if it doesn't, then we'll just import that from the @analog.js/content package.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not. Is it going to auto import? My keyboard's not. Okay, that's. Right. No.
Yeah, no, we don't want it.
No, don't implement.
No, we don't want that one. I don't know what that was going to do. That was just going to blow up. So yeah, if you just import, import provide content from analog.js/content.
Okay, cool. All right.
So and this is just the package that we have to render markdown, but it could be for other things too. And another thing we want to add is the with markdown renderer, which is imported from that same package there. So where inside of that provide content, we're going to add that with markdown renderer inside that provide content function. Yeah, inside of there. And that's a function too.
Okay.
Because we're saying we're using provide content as like a general API, and then with markdown render is like a feature inside of there. So you just need to call that as a function.
Okay. It's not a callback. It's okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, just call that. Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So now uh we have our awesome. If we put slash awesome in there now, we should get some text here somewhere.
There we
If
go.
okay, okay,
It
cool,
worked.
nice.
Yeah, no, getting back to your point. Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea to put a template in so this all gets bootstrapped if somebody wants to start it. That would
Mm-hmm.
probably make for a good PR for somebody if they wanted to contribute to the
Mm.
project. Just
Hey,
throwing that
we're
out.
always accepting contributions. So I just need, it's one of those things I need to open up an issue and tag it
Yeah.
good first issue and that and all that. So that way people will know how to contribute and everything.
Cool, cool. Okay, so we've got some markdown happening, and this is this still running in single page application mode, or is this a statically generated
Yeah,
page now?
we're still in single page application mode. To change it to server side rendering, we just go into the vconfig
Okay.
and yep, .ts, vconfig.ts, and inside of the analog plugin there,
Yep.
inside of that, yeah, just add an object there and just set
Okay.
SSR to true, and
Okay.
then we'll get the yeah, SSR to true, and
I
then
saw somebody
we'll
just followed. I missed who just followed, but thank you for the follow.
yep.
Yeah. Okay. Do we need to Oh, it restarted the server. Okay.
Yeah, it's good about detecting, at least detecting when you change that server file there. So
Okay.
yeah, if we get our nice overlay in here, I have to look and see if there's something on our end or not, or maybe I don't know if it's a
Yeah.
stack listing or not. But yeah, if we go back to the slash awesome page there, uh, then we'll be in SSR mode. So
Okay.
if we were to disable JavaScript on this page, we would
Yeah.
still get the rendered output of the markdown there,
Okay.
minus
It's
minus the red overlay, of course.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a stacklet thing because the page rendered fine, but I just
Yep.
uh I just popped it into. I don't really need to zoom in too much here, but I'm gonna view the page source just so we can
Mm-hmm.
show that it was actually SSR. Is
Yep.
this?
Yep. So you can see the ng server context is that's how you know it got server rendered, and we also have the style with the ng
Okay.
transition there at the top.
Okay.
Now we can actually customize that ng server context so you know that it came from analog,
Okay.
but we just have to import a thing, and so we can show that it gets rendered out that way. But
Okay.
but as you can see
Okay. Cool.
there, the template and everything is there. This is just looks like, or maybe it's over farther, but we should be seeing the
Oh, let me remove
markup.
it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'm just
Oh,
not
yeah.
seeing it.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't see it. Maybe. Let's see here. Let's try that again. Maybe let me just switch back to here. We got SSR true.
Yeah,
Angular
SSR true should
code.
be the flag that we need there, and we should see
Yeah.
well, we can see that. Another thing is you can see like we're on the server down there. You can see Angular is running in development mode. We can see that it
Yeah.
rendered out that way, but we should still see that in the markup, even on the page too. So
Yeah.
um,
Hmm. I can try stopping the server and starting again, even though it restarted,
yeah,
but
we can try that.
let me just go back
Yeah, we
to
can try the server, and then we can see if we can pre-render this route and see if it'll give us that correctly.
SFIB
Like I said, we'll
browser.
see if the Stack Blitz environment will give us that part. But
Here, wait, maybe it didn't load yet. Let's see here. Reload.
yeah, it looks.
I'm pretty sure that's a
Looks like I
stack
see
blitz
some of
thing.
it. Yeah.
Here, let's go to the awesome here again. Okay, and so that loaded. Just I'm pretty sure the URL is the same, but
Mm-hmm.
let's load that and just see. I wonder
Are
why.
you doing the view source or are you doing the inspect? Well, it should be. No, it should be the same though.
I'm doing the view page source just to see the
Oh,
actual
okay.
server side rendered, but um,
Yeah,
what? Wait,
it should be in there. I'm not sure why it's not showing up here, but I know that the ng server context is there, so I'm wondering what's going on there. But
okay.
we can try the server or try the static build of it and see if it comes out in that output there.
Cool. Yeah, we'll do that. There's just, I know we're close to time, but there's a question from Enixia 618. How
Hmm.
does SSR affect deployment to hosting websites? Is it just uploading files, but HTML instead of JS?
Yeah, so of course you can speak to this also being at Netlify, but
Yeah,
if you want to just deploy the like host, if you would just want to pre-render the site itself, because the way, of course, Angular works today is it sends you the HTML, just the raw, the minimal HTML without server-side rendering, and then the JavaScript loads in and kind of rehydrates the page.
yeah,
But if we're using like server side rendering or static site generation, then we're generating all that markup for you up front. And then the JavaScript kind of takes over as it loads.
yeah,
So if you wanted to have a static page, you could just ship the HTML side of it. And then if you just wanted to have some, a little bit of interactivity and just have the JavaScript take over at that point, then
yeah,
that's mainly what you could use it for. So building things like
yeah,
blogs, of course, you want to pre-render that content, um, because you don't need any necessarily interactivity there with just like static text and things. But if you want to build like maybe some static, some application code too, then you kind of do a little mix of those together.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. As long as you generate the files, you can literally put them on any hosting service that,
Hmm.
Netlify, Cloudflare workers, Vercel, GitHub pages, wherever. Um,
Hmm.
the server side rendering, the SSR that we were talking about, that you have to use a hosting provider that provides some kind of serverless environment. So, like Netlify, for example, we have Netlify functions for serverless. We
Hmm.
also have Netlify Edge functions, which we won't go into Edge, but basically serverless, so you can actually, when people say I need to go get something that's dynamic on the back end, I say back end, but it's such a it's it's I don't
So
know
what
what
does
people
it
call
even
it.
mean anymore?
Yeah, exactly. But basically, if you need something dynamic done that's not in the client side, you need some kind of serverless environment, and most hosting providers will provide that now. So yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I want to, if you're up for doing the static site generation, we can do that. I just want to let you know it's almost 2:30 if you do have to hop off.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
if,
got a few more minutes.
yeah, okay, I can do a few more minutes too then. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So for the static site, if like in that same object where we had the SSR true, we can go in there and we can add an object for a pre-render.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So if you add an object there for pre-render, and then that'll be an object itself. And then in there, we can just add the routes that we want to
Oh,
pre-render. So
okay.
if you just add routes as a property in there, and
Okay.
this will just be an array. And then we could just put that'll just be an array of strings, and you can put the slash awesome in there as
Okay.
one that gets pre-rendered. Um, so you can do this in a couple of ways. If you know your routes up front, you could just have this as a static array. Or if you
Okay.
were using something to where maybe you're using like a CMS or something like that, and you want to render a certain number of routes,
Yeah.
this takes an async function also.
Okay.
So you could, do something async and go grab some data and then populate that routes array with that data too. So you have a
Okay. Yeah.
couple of options there.
Okay. That's
So
cool.
in
Let's
order
go to serverless.
to build this, well, you can see that there's your yo in the constructor
Oh, yeah.
down
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
didn't see
Now it's
earlier.
showing up.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, if you want to stop the serve there, and then
Okay.
if we can run ng build, and then we'll run it'll build it'll do a couple of things, but it'll be a single step.
Okay.
It'll build the client app, and then it'll build the server side renderer, and then it'll like server side render the pages
Okay.
for the app itself. So
Okay, cool. All right, so it's just building
yeah,
here
so
with
the
Vite.
yeah, so it builds a client app, and then Vite has like kind of like a two-step process, but we're doing this in one go, and then we're building the server if you wanted to use that, and then we
Okay.
have a error unexpected token. Okay, so I
It says
got
it
some kind of
built
issue with
some,
there. Yeah, so if we
but
look in the dist
okay.
folder, we'll see if it actually finished, if it actually pre-rendered the pages or not.
Okay.
But yeah, if we look in the dist, we have three folders there. We got the client side. So this is just the app itself. Like if you wanted the Angular JavaScript
Okay.
side of things, and then the SSR is the SSR folder is like the server side render part of
Okay.
that. Um, and then the server is in the public folder inside the right there. Yeah, inside the public server
Okay.
or the public folder inside the server is where like the pre-rendered stuff would go. So
Okay.
if we click on the index.html, let's see if we got anything in pre-rendered in there.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. Okay. So we still have the that part there, but I think what's missing is we didn't update the
Okay.
main.server.ts
Okay.
in the
So we
source
can do that.
folder. Yeah, to include the same things that we had in the main.ts.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So let me just go grab
Yeah, so we have
main
some providers
TS.
and things in there too, but we just need to copy the render, the provide content part in there. Yeah, if we just copy those
Oh
two
yeah, I don't need
things.
all of it. Sorry. Yeah. Just this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, we already got the router part in there. It's just provide render. Yeah, that part.
Okay. And then I'll just
And
add
then
the import here.
yeah, just add that to the array there. Yeah, and the imports.
Is that right? Oh,
Um,
I'm missing the comma. Sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
So we have that part, and then uh, so we have the markdown render on the server side, and that was probably what was missing. Now that I think about it, going back and forth, I like botched half the demo there, but that
Oh,
was
it's
the
all good.
part
It's all
that
good.
probably why it wasn't rendering on the server side when we tried it before.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay. Yeah.
so yeah,
Gotcha.
if we go back to the ng serve now,
Okay.
we'll probably see the pre-rendered content there
Cool.
from the server. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's something like I said. So still some rough edges there, but we can kind of smooth out those parts to let
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
know if something actually like aired out
Okay.
during the
That's,
build.
I'm
So
pretty sure, again, the stack blitz thing, but let's go to
yeah,
awesome. Okay. That loads as expected. I'm just going
yep,
to put it in a new tab just to
yeah, sure.
see. And I did not open the right thing. Sorry. Hold on a sec. Control A. All right. So now if we do view page source,
Yeah,
there we go. Okay.
yeah.
So
So there you
server
go.
side rendering.
That's what we were expecting to see before was the server side rendered output. So even if we had JavaScript turned off, we would still
Yeah.
see this part of the page. Uh, so yeah, that way you could have the pre-rendering there and the static site if you wanted to pre-render some of these pages, and then have just the client app take over on some
Yeah.
of the other pages. So, and the
No.
Angular is, like I said, Angular is working on, like today when Angular loads in, it will basically destroy the content that's there and recreate
Okay.
it. But in the future, they're working on something that will help to ease this process to where it doesn't destroy the page completely. It'll just basically hydrate the page and add the
Okay. Yeah.
Angular parts to the existing markup. So that'll be
No, that's super
a
cool.
better experience there where you don't get that like flash of unstyled content or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
No, this
yeah,
is super cool. I know we had a couple hiccups just putting in dependencies, but
yeah,
honestly, it's a stream. But this is super cool to see that. I mean, I'm still impressed. You've built a meta framework, honestly. Yeah, just to recap real quick because I know we're 5 minutes over. So yeah, we talked about a few things. We talked about Angular then and now, NGRX, and analog, which is what we've been playing around with right now, and yeah, it's got a lot of great features already. So you've got file-based routing, API
Hmm.
routes, static site generation, single page application mode, which is the default, I believe. And
Yeah, single
then,
page. Yep, single page
yeah,
app. I was considering just going to server side out of the box, but we'll see because I do think that it provides like a better experience overall if you can like server render the
mhm.
page and then already have something there for people to or for like SEO and things like that. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, and like you said, server side rendering. So lots of cool stuff here. I'll just I dropped a link to your Twitter, which links to like all kinds of stuff you're a part of.
hmm.
I dropped a link to Analog again, and also I clicked the button. We didn't talk so much about open source, but I dropped a bunch of links for open source, which is
Yes.
where Brendan's working at currently with Brian Douglas, aka B
Hmm.
Dougie, and a bunch of other awesome people there. I really love that project. We can maybe talk about that at other time.
Yeah, sure.
Um, but yeah, this has been awesome. Like you know, I didn't know what to expect from Modern Angular before the stream, so I'm
Hmm.
actually it's pretty exciting that things have moved along like quite a ways. Like it's uh, I don't know. I mean, I guess people like to throw shade just to throw shade because they like their own framework, but
Yeah.
uh, I think this is really great, and I definitely think having something like Analog will definitely elevate
Hmm.
Angular adoption. I can't say for sure, but I think it would.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't say for sure,
yeah,
but like I said, when I held onto this idea long enough that either whether something happened with it or not, I'll just let the chips fall where they may.
yeah,
But yeah, it's one of those things I couldn't let it go any longer. So I should have just went and started it earlier. But I'm glad to see where the project is. I already got a good number of contributors either way, and I'm looking forward to see what happens to it in the future. So we'll see.
yeah. No, no, for sure. Yeah, awesome stuff. Yeah. Last thing I'll drop. I dropped it before, but if you do want to support Brandon, I'm just gonna go to the GitHub real quick here.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, if I'm forgetting how to press buttons at the moment. Yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna go to Brandon's sponsor page. He works on Analog JS. He's working on all kinds of open source stuff. Obviously, no pressure to sponsor, but if that's something that interests you, I'd highly encourage it. Yeah, so check that out. And yeah, thanks again, man. This was a lot of fun. We've never really hung out before, so I had a great time. And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we'll do something else sometime.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me. And then, like I said, appreciate the people who are support my open source work and people who supported my open source journey and analog and everything else. So definitely thanks for having me.
Yeah, cool. And I'll just mention we're done for the week. It is Friday. But next week, Eddie Hinkle from Glassdoor, he's an engineering manager over there. He's going to be on the stream. So we're going to be chatting next Wednesday. So check that out. And I'll drop the schedule. There's all kinds of other great folks coming on. If I'm just having trouble pressing buttons today. Yeah, so check that out. And yeah, everybody have a happy Friday. And thanks again, Brandon.
Thanks. See ya.